Okay, welcome to Stop Lying on the Relaxer. Brought to you by me, Von Holman, the hair doctor. Follow me on IG, hair artist underscore Levon. What I really want to get across to everybody is that it's a lot of people that have gone natural for whatever reasons. Some being cultural, some being just fear of relaxers. And one of the biggest fears that was put out was when the Good Hair movie came out, and he took the audience to a sodium hydroxide plant, a chemical plant, and put a can, an aluminum can, in 100% sodium hydroxide melted. But that's what that company does. That's how they actually make plastics, aluminum cans, everything has some form of sodium in it. Just check some of your bottles. But the real information was misrepresented. A relaxer has anywhere between 2.1 to 2.2 or less percentage of sodium hydroxide in it. So with that said, I just want people to understand that that was the first lie. Because like I said, we're going to stop lying on the relaxer. The other thing is when people say the relaxer took their hair out. Now, my response to that has always been, this is an inanimate object. You have to put it in, so I will no longer allow people that's in my presence that says that and say that the relaxer without this response, that relaxer didn't jump on your head and it didn't take your hair out on its own. So the application makes the person putting it in the responsible party. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because if you got somebody that you're using as a friend or whatever to do these relaxers, even yourself, the first thing you need to know that most relaxers that you buy in the stores are calcium hydroxide, which deposits calcium onto the hair every time you apply it. Not to mention, if you damage the cuticle during your relaxer process by under-processing or over-processing, you're going to cause some problems with that calcium being in the hair as well. So when I say that we have to make this thing something that everybody get involved, and if you are not seeing the rest of it, just slide the screen, because this is how we have to do it on Instagram. But the big thing is, it's always going to be the application. Do you have the right strength relaxer? Are you using a timer to time how long you are putting the relaxer in? This is to the stylists. This is to the people at home. This is to everybody that have ever had a relaxer, changed their mind, blamed the relaxer, and never had this information. This is great information for you to make a new decision, because right now I'm at 17 of my clients that have came back to the relaxer after I gave them the proper information, and they are seeing that their hair can be healthy, their hair can tangle less, they no longer have to deal with the natural hair issues that they were dealing with, and at the end of the day, it's saving them a whole lot more money. So I do natural hair all day long. I charge more for it. It's more work. Love it. But the only thing that I'm promoting here is that we gotta stop messing up the choice or the freedom of the choice by that lie that the relaxer was the issue. Because the idea that natural, or the word natural, it makes people think that that means automatically healthy. And right now, I'm betting about 80% of the natural hair clients that me and several of the stylists that we've talked about, they have the most unhealthiest hair, but yet stating that they're natural, thinking that they have to do less. And basically, that's what's happening. They're doing less to their hair, and they're being led into the marketing gimmicks. I'm not against them, but if you don't know anything about the porosity of your hair, if you get a natural hair product that has a whole lot of things in it that will just coat the hair but not change the condition of the hair, then it's a gimmick. And you know, the types of things that people look for are the curl products that are heavy, that have ingredients in it to make it curl. But the issue is when you shampoo your hair and you remove all that is on there, is that strand of hair or this head of hair, is it soft? Because we talk about porosity and we do porosity tests, but people need to know that all we're saying is we're trying to find out, is this hair dry, brittle, or soft? Soft hair is healthy hair. Dry, brittle hair is unhealthy hair. So if you test your hair, whether it be relaxed or natural, you got to make sure you're using a clarifying shampoo to remove it, all the residue, or all the gunk that was placed on top of it, and it wasn't able to absorb if it had poor porosity or high porosity. It just set up there. Just like the oil. I did the oil test with people, letting them know, you know, that oil is not a moisturizer. All it does is sit on it. It doesn't change the condition. It's in my video with the sponge. But the key is you got to make sure that you know that you have another choice. And the tangling that's going on from the split ends that you want to keep because of the length, all that's have everything to do with it. Because a split end, there's nothing healthy about it. It cannot absorb anything anymore. It can't be mended back together. You got to make sure that you understand when we are giving this information, we're giving it to give you enough information to make a great choice and not some misled choice. So back to the relaxer. The main things that you need to know is that if you're doing this at home or you're going to a salon and they're doing it, you need to know that the things that you should see in front of you when being applied is your base. Make sure that, because there's a lot of people that don't properly base. The client can have irritation or what you would call burning, and then that area is damaged. If you damage the scalp, if the scalp is dry, if the scalp has abrasions and bruises, then it cannot produce, that area cannot produce a healthy head of hair, or that area, for that area. So what I'm trying to get people to understand is all these things matter when applying a relaxer. Because you gotta, if I'm applying a relaxer and I'm putting on gloves, this is skin. The scalp is skin too. You need to make sure you note that when you're getting one. That's skin. Then the idea of the longer you leave it in, the straighter it gets. All relaxers come with a processing time. Ours just happen to be time release. That when you know you got fine hair, you're only processing for 13 minutes. And that's from start, from the back area to the finish. 15 minutes for medium, textured hair, and coarse hair will get 17 to 18. So when I'm applying a relaxer, I already have done the check to see what is the texture of this person's hair. You at home, y'all just guessing. You might be doing a super on someone that hair is actually fine, but you see a lot of hair. The density causes you to think it's coarse, just because it's a lot of strands of hair on the head. So these things matter, and they matter big time, because if you choose the wrong relaxer, you're gonna cause damage to the hair. Remember, I said you're gonna cause damage to the hair, and that I'm talking to the stylist who's doing the same. You are the responsible party, not the relaxer. And that's another lie. That's another lie that they put out on the relaxer. So no, the longer you leave it in, the over processed it is. So, you know, a lot of people have stated that they, you know, do work while the relaxer in at home. And, you know, one girl said she left it in for 45 minutes. And I asked her, so let me ask you this. The next week when you shampooed your hair, didn't your hair wave up like you didn't even get a relaxer? And she said, yeah, how did you know that? I said, because you over processed it. The process relaxed the curl pattern. That's what you was after. And you wasn't supposed to get bone straight, you're just supposed to get 85% straight. So when you look at the idea of bone straight, that means you have taken all the elasticity out of the hair. So now just do whatever the pattern is in front of it. So when she went to shampoo her hair the next time, it came up just like she needed another relaxer. And I asked her, I said, because you saw that, were you tempted? And be honest with me, were you tempted to relax your hair again? She said, yeah, but I waited another week. Because now she thinks all she got to do is relax the hair again and it'll make it straight. Because she thought it didn't take because of the way she got that result from that second shampoo. It's a whole lot of reasons why you shouldn't be doing it at home. I don't recommend nobody doing it themselves because you cannot get it in. And I'm not asking nobody to challenge that. I'm just saying you cannot get it in the processing time the way that it's supposed to be applied and in the time frame by yourself. Because when we started the quadrants, we divide the hair in 4 quadrants. And remember, if you have already had a relaxer, that means that the relaxer was placed in your hair as a virgin relaxer, then that relaxer was permanent. The only thing you're supposed to be relaxing is the new growth. So if you at home, you already got relaxer, you said, no, I'm going to comb it all the way through to make it straight, and then you start experiencing breaking, splitting, dryness, because you went over the permanently relaxed hair. That's called over-processing as well. So, again, we just pointed out all the lies and the things that have been said that caused you to think it was the relaxer instead of the person applying it. The fault lies in the person applying it. So where we at now? We go back over here. You're applying this, and then you go into smooth. That's when you have applied, came back, and now you're pressing down. Well, most people that are doing it wrong, they're pressing with whatever they have, either be their brush or the comb. When they're pressing, or they can use their finger, they're pressing too hard. Because a relaxer swells the cuticle, and it heats up and it swells the cuticle of that strand of hair. It gets swollen. The theory that I like to use is the spaghetti theory. So if you have ever cooked spaghetti, you put it in hot water, it goes in hard, it softens, it swells. Same thing happens here. So what do you think will happen if you press too hard on that spaghetti while it's hot and in that water? It's going to pop. And that's why a lot of people have little short strands of hair in between their lung from that type of pressing, and then make permanent parts in the 4 quadrants. Because the hair has been broken off and it's short. It's not really a permanent part. It just looks that way because the shorter you cut any hair, the straighter it'll stand up. Like, that's how we come up with spikes and stuff. But, you know, the main thing is to keep that in mind. That's the applying, the time that you apply. Some people will apply relaxer in the area, too many strokes like that causes the time that you need to have it all the way applied in at least half the time that it takes to process. But if you're doing a lot of, just painting and wasted time in an area, because this is only apply and part. That's all the way through, apply and part, apply and part. Come back, when you smooth, it's just a light tap or a tap with your finger. And the heat from your finger, process it up, help it process it even faster. So these are just things that I know you don't know, and these are the things that some people do know but have stepped away from it. But we have to explain it so that the lies will stop. The other thing is that you're rinsing. If you're rinsing, the water is going to stop the activation. The neutralizing shampoo is strictly to now lock in the new formation of straight. It's also has a pH regulator in it, and it some phenol red in it to show whether or not this is still have relaxer residue in it. But if you go in and if you apply it here first, that's the first area you rinse. Well, a lot of people just put their relaxer in any kind of way, then they rinse from the front. They start in the area that had the least time. So that's the reason why you rinse here, 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 and here. So what am I saying? I'm saying that if you don't even understand how to rinse it right. So again, another lie on the relaxer. Also, we get into the area of how long you're supposed to rinse. Rinsing longer than 2 minutes will cause aversion to the hair. And then the neutralizer, you put it in, you go in. Remember, the purpose of it is to lock in the new straight formation. If you go in with the neutralizer and you bunching it up like that, or you just locked in that new bunched up formation, and you gotta blame the relaxer, saying because it came out like a texturizer, that it was the relaxer's fault. Not another lie. And then let's talk about people that's doing texturizers. A texturizer was designed to loosen the curl pattern so it'll look curly. And the only problem is when you that's all a texturizer is just simply under processing the hair, meaning that you go way less than the time that it takes to process. And when it does process, it means now that hair will thrive or thirst for moisture. That's why you put curl activators in the texturizer. But if you don't do that, let's say if you're just doing it for your child and you're saying you want to loosen up her hair, her curl pattern, the ideal is a good idea until you get to not putting curl activator type of products in the hair. Now what you did, you only did it to loosen the pattern, and you now gonna blow dry and flat iron. But now you actually are helping to dry their hair out even more, especially if you're using high temperatures and flat ironing over one area more than 1 to 2 times. So these are just tips that I'm giving to make sure that people understand how it's done right, what you should be looking for when you go into a salon, and then follow the ways that I'm bringing up. If you are one that are doing hair in the home but you are licensed, we give classes. I give one-on-one classes. I give classes with a basic. We have a wonderful relaxer. It's a herbaceous relaxer and has a triple release formula, which I can explain more to a stylist than the public. But at the end of the day, it's bringing oil and water mixed together properly into the hair, restoring it, vital nutrients and things like that. But we got to make sure that the lies stop. That was the whole purpose of this video. I hope you enjoyed the information. And remember, if the idea of people getting upset with you, if you want to go to the relaxer, I don't understand that at all. But I noticed that I do hear that from the clients that, girl, you went back to the creamy crack. Well, it's not creamy crack, and it wasn't the problem. But then there's those people that are way out with it. With the now you have made it a religion that you wear natural hair, or it's part of the culture of Africa or the motherland. Well, in the motherland, they have relaxers. Just want you to know that. In beautiful salons, I actually visit several of them. And the thing that needs to be stated is, I called it a religion because a religion is just a means to get you into a belief that is something that's right, that you're following. But the only time it becomes wrong is when you take the freedom away from another person in your thinking or in your idea of what you're trying to put on them. So if somebody want to go back to a relaxer, leave them alone. That's their choice. That's their freedom of choice. So if your idea or your belief causes you to be mad at another person, then that's a controlling issue, and that's what religion is. It actually controls. I also can talk more about that, but just check me out on my IG, Think Like the Creator. That brand is out, trademark. We'll be talking about that. Shameless plug. But anyway, I think I got my point across about the relaxer, and I'll be waiting on whoever needs to see me. Toodles.